Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and welcome to your Smackdown review. So, you thought that the Raw build-up was bad. You thought maybe you'd get a little bit of something on SmackDown, maybe to make up for it. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Did you not like the Raw build-up for WrestleMania? So we'll make up for it on SmackDown. We'll try twice as hard. Even if they tried twice as hard, that wouldn't even be considered trying by normal human standards. I mean, this is like not giving a fuck to the extreme. I mean, if they didn't give any more fucks, I mean, there would probably be no fucks left in the goddamn world. I mean, this is a pathetic attempt. I mean, SmackDown feels so, dry and by the numbers. I mean, and Raw feels the same, but, I will give them this. At least in the Rousey, Stephanie thing, even though it might have ended horribly, I don't know, it's more exciting on Raw. It just kind of proves that I don't know. I have to think that maybe it probably is Road Dogg. I don't want to blame this guy for everything. But I was thinking to myself, maybe the guy is not cut out for writing. I talk about how he was involved in some of the greatest Attitude Era moments of all time. But, that doesn't mean that everybody's going to be a great writer. We've heard behind the scenes, for example, we even listen to guys like Stone Cold. A lot of times I disagree with this man's philosophy. He puts over these talents that really have no chance of ever getting over. Putting over guys like Finn Balor and shit. I mean, so it's like you could see sometimes these guys are not cut out for creative. But so here we go. Let's start off. I mean, is Road Dogg purposely ruining this show? I don't think he wants to make a bad show on purpose, but we've seen that so many of these guys, they really don't know what they're doing when it comes to creative. Daniel Bryan and Shane hug it out in the ring. They apologize to one another. This was a throwback to 2012, and, my views on wrestling might have changed since then. They've become a lot less markish and, a lot more towards the casual side of things. I wish this was left in 2012. I mean, did we really need to go back to the whole Dr. Shelby thing? I mean, you've got a lot of people on here in the YWC that got a hard-on for Dr. Shelby. They ate that shit up back in the day. And I said the first anger management segment was actually very entertaining between the two. I said it was probably some of the best writing that they've done. But then they went into overdrive with it, if you guys can still remember that. This is going from 5.5 years ago. They went into overdrive. They said, okay, we had one successful segment, and they do what they always do, what WWE always loves to do. Fucking beat it like a fucking dead horse. Yeah, horse. You think you're gonna be good? They beat the shit out of it. Fucking throw that horse out a 20-story window. Drive over it with a goddamn monster truck. Then take out a fucking rifle and fucking shoot it 10,000 times. And then they throw it on TV. And this horse was already dead. They already, from Hug It Out, when they had Kane completely destroy whatever was left of his character in the ring with Daniel Bryan hugging it out 5.5 years ago. Here we are. We thought that maybe Bryan's worst moments were behind him. And I will say that, the way how they were treating Bryan like a joke, half a decade ago. I thought that maybe now, at least, in the internet age, they won't try to make a fool out of him. And they're still doing it with the fucking Hug It Out shit. You would never see this years ago. And I said, it's, how come, even Finn Balor doesn't have to fucking hug it out. Even the Blueberry fuckboy doesn't have to hug it out with the man guy on Raw. You know, those guys don't have to hug it out. So why does Bryan have to hug it out with Shane? And this is lazy storytelling. You know, these guys, they were disagreeing. They weren't getting along. They were butting heads. It seemed like maybe they might have had a match at Mania. But now it's just like, oh, you know what? We were both wrong. Let's sweep it under the rug. I mean, you know, you built up all that stuff for months and months and months, all that tension, and then you pushed it to the side. I mean, you could have gotten to the same point without even having that Bryan-Shane rivalry. You could have still had the tag match if they were getting along. I mean, unless they are planning like a double cross where maybe Bryan will turn on Shane, which seems very likely, and I think that's probably what they are going to do, because obviously Owens and Zayn are not going to be losing their jobs unless this is a way to get them on Raw, but isn't the brand extension ending anyway? Why am I even thinking about this? Who the fuck cares? I mean, it's honestly. But I think that maybe, just maybe, they might be thinking about turning one of them heel. It might not be Bryan. It might not be Shane. But then again, it's like, why would they? After they attack them and all that, maybe one of them will have a change of heart. Who knows? Charlotte has a match with Natalya. Charlotte, rather, she gets attacked by Carmella. She attempts to cash in. She kicks the briefcase out of the ring. Once again, Carmella ends up looking like a total goof. It's a bit too many times trying to cash this thing in unsuccessful. Like I said, they make her look so bad that when she eventually wins the title, it's not going to look good. And I said this, it was the same thing with Seth Rollins. They made this guy lose for the better part of a year, losing every single match that he had. And then he finally won the title, and it might have been a decent surprise moment at WrestleMania years ago, but it would have been so much better if the guy had been built up properly. It seemed to me that the only person they gave the briefcase to where they really had any success with like making the guy seem reputable was with Edge. And I remember even back then people were complaining, oh, he cashed in at the end of a match, and people bitched and complained, but at least the guy was a winner. So when he won the belt, it kind of made sense, like, a guy who was a winner winning the belt. Charlotte ended up winning the match anyway against Natalya. Then Asuka came out, and, this promo right here, trying to cut a promo with somebody who probably doesn't even understand the lick of what you're saying is kind of impossible to make quality, but, but you know what? If the promo don't work, just stare at the sign, and, I'm going to talk a lot about that when I do my WrestleMania predictions, but yeah, let's just stare at the sign. Hey, that's a nice sign there. And I don't think I've really stressed this enough at how annoying that is. We're all pointing at the sign. We're all looking at the sign. We're looking at the sign like we're looking at our phones, right? Like looking at social media. It's an excuse for bad build. We're just entranced by the Mania sign. It's all going to happen there, Yeah, it's a sign. It looked the same way it did weeks ago, but we're memorized by it. I mean, honestly, later on the show we're going to see Randy Orton looking at the WrestleManias. Yeah, Orton, when you were actually wrestling for the world title at Mania, now it's a U.S. title. And, even at the beginning of your career, you were having big matches against The Undertaker. And now you're just in the Fatal 4-Way. But I'm jumping ahead, so let's get there so I can talk about it. AJ had a sit-down interview. He even says we're far from the Tokyo Dome. Exactly. If we're that far from the Tokyo Dome, why are we having this match? I mean, I can't believe that this match is actually happening. And it's not for the reason that the marks think, that I'm going to say this if you're new to these videos. if you're new to this channel. You know, I can't believe this is happening because this is going to be one of the worst WWE title matches of all time. This is like if they booked Taka versus Funaki in the main event. I mean, okay, I understand, yes, you know, I'm an AJ fan, I get that, but, you know, if they were going to put AJ in the main event of Mania, I wouldn't have complained. By all means, AJ's a charismatic guy. I don't like his babyface character. It's generic as fuck, but AJ is a talented guy. He does look like a star, but this Naka Murphy guy, I mean, put him in the ring with somebody better than this. I mean, look at this goofball. I mean, honestly, like I said, this guy is a main eventer. I mean, we're honestly supposed to buy this because Wade Keller tells us that he is. This is the problem. We're listening to all these newsletter mamalukes, you know, Dave Meltzer, oh, he's a great Japanese talent. Okay, that's all fine and well. I'm so thrilled, you know, that we have this amazing Japanese god, right? You know, he's so fantastic. It's like he showed up in NXT. Most of the people didn't even watch a single match of his, but they know that just because he's from Japan, that means that by gosh golly, he's got to be good. By George, he's got to be good. It doesn't matter. I read an article on the Wrestling News Observer, so I mean, it's got to be true. I mean, you know, don't even sample his work for yourself. I mean, you know, and once again, AJ is the most generic babyface. This guy was doing such a good job as a heel. But this is not just AJ's fault. Every single promo that they write for a babyface, this is obviously scripted. These are not AJ's words. These are words that, like, are fed through a fucking computer and regurgitated out. I mean, what a bunch of fucking nonsense being said here. This is not a dream match. This is a reality. Who the fuck talks like that? Dream match. You never even heard anybody talking about it from the perspective of the internet. Dream match is you know, it's not like an insider term, but it's something you'd hear on the message boards. It's definitely an internet term. So why the fuck would you, like, use that in a promo? It's not a dream match. It's supposed to be a rivalry. And here's the thing. Do you guys notice something? These are two baby faces in the ring together. There's not even any real rivalry going on over here. I respect you. I respect you. Let's wrestle. I mean, same thing with Asuka and Charlotte. It's just babyface versus babyface. And I know you're going to say, okay, well, Brad, you're a fan of the Attitude Era. It wasn't that way, too. There was shades of gray. Yeah, but you still know who the bad guy and the good guy were. Like, going into WrestleMania 15, Stone Cold was no, you know, Mother Teresa. But we all knew that clearly The Rock was the bad guy. And we wanted to see Stone Cold, you know, make sure he got his comeuppance. I mean, so you see what I'm saying here? There's something missing here, and that's clear-cut bad guys and good guys. I mean, it don't have to be 100% clear-cut, but we should at least kind of know who we're supposed to root for here. Oh, it's fake, I get that, but, you know, it's like, you know, what do we have in any good story? Whether it's a Charles Dickinson or a fucking Steven Spielberg movie. You know, whether it's Star Wars or whether it's fucking The Godfather, you know, you have a protagonist and antagonist. And, you know, you're going to have this story where you know who, you know, who's the good guy and the bad guy. And, you know, you might look at it like, okay, well, you know, you got certain movies and books where, you know, the main character might not be such a great guy, but it doesn't matter. You at least know, you know, who the characters are. Here, they're just fucking, you know, like, it's like paint drawing, just plain old characters. You know, you're not ready for Asuka. You know, oh, you're not ready for me. Oh, you know, like, oh, wow, oh, crazy there. You know, calm down there. It's, you know, that's a lot of, you know, that's a lot of energy you're putting forth there. My goodness, you know, kind of, you know, I don't even know what side. I've got the Raw review written on one side of this paper, and I'm reusing it for the SmackDown one, for God's sakes. Trying to conserve paper here, motherfucker. Save the environment and shit, you know. Rusev defeated Jinder Mahal, and I'm not sure how I feel about somebody taking a clean pin like this who's going to be in the match, right, right before. So, Rusev finally gets a moment to shine here. I mean, there's a pause. Oh, wait a minute. Nope. All the heat's taken away from Rusev. Randy Orton lands an RKO. Bobby Roode comes into the ring, hands him the title, and they just both stare at the sign. This is what I was saying before. Yeah, Orton, take a good look at the sign. WrestleMania, where you were main eventing it at one time. Now, you're just wrestling for the United States Championship. You are the U.S. champion. I get that. But, I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm just, like, kind of stunned. I mean, look how far we have fallen with this goddamn company. I mean, and look at this, how it's all even Stevens. Like, look at this. Oh, I won the match. Oh, no, you dropped the Rusev. You're not allowed. The Orton's got to stand tall. And then both Bobby Roode and Orton just stand tall at the end. I mean, nobody has a clear upper hand. What was the point of having Rusev get the win there if Orton's just going to come in? And I know that's probably to show the fact that it's going to be a fatal four-way and that the RKO could come out of nowhere, and we all get that, and we've all seen it 1,000 fucking times, and my God, this build is fucking trash. I mean, every single feud, it's either, we all cap off each segment staring at the WrestleMania sign. It was the same thing with Stephanie Arnold, even Stephanie McMahon, who can't help but get herself over in every way possible and make like she's the fucking Hulk Hogan of this company. Even she's staring at the sign, and shit. Everybody's looking at that fucking sign. Fuck that fucking sign. I am so sick of that goddamn sign, already. They started hanging that shit up at WrestleMania 20. I remember it like it was no tomorrow, because it was one of the manias I went to. And I thought it was, it was interesting. You're hanging the sign up to build anticipation. And I liked the idea back then in high school. I was like, you know what? Way back in 2004. I was like, I'm going to get behind this. I like this idea of having to sign up because it's like WrestleMania is right around the corner. They started hanging that shit up around Survivor Series, I believe, something like that. And I'm like, we're building anticipation. We're getting ready for WrestleMania. Hang up the sign so we know it's on the horizon. And WrestleMania 20 ended up being a massive show, an eventful show. It was a popular mania that a lot of people liked. And so, they carried on a tradition. And then we would see, like, even more of this. Like, WrestleMania 22, they hung up, like, wrestlers' pictures all over the place. You had one of Hogan, you had one of The Rock, you had, like, multiple wrestlers all at the top of it. Well, no, it wasn't, like, maybe The Rock was up there, but you had Cena, Batista, all these wrestlers' portraits. So, this has been a long-standing thing, but now, there never used to be that people, I think one person might have done it leading up to WrestleMania 20, pointed the sign. It might have been Eddie Guerrero, it might have been Benoit, somebody might have did it. But somewhere along the line the past couple of years, they've just resorted this as their go-to. Point at the sign, you've got nothing better to do, you might as well just fucking point it at you. Oh, I'm going there, I'm going to accomplish what I want. I understand it's kind of supposed to be symbolism. Well, fuck symbolism because it's being a very overused tactic nowadays. Naka Murphy had a sit-down interview. I gotta be honest, guys. I barely even understood what he's saying. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to, start anything with anybody here. I know a lot of people get super sensitive when I start that. But the thing is, guys, I've honestly said this. Have you never had, a teacher in school where, they were from a foreign land and you just couldn't understand what they were saying? Well, that's a lot like what it is here. why am I watching this show and he's a sit-down interview, and I gotta ask guys, what is up with that guy's teeth? I'm not just like picking out, oh, Brad, picking on the guy's teeth. No, honestly, what is that? What is this? Come on. And the facial expression he's making, oh, he's supposed to be quirky. What is this? First, what is it with all these Japanese wrestlers? And here we go, people are going to say I'm being hateful here. But Asuka with the mask and the this and the that, and you're not ready for Asuka screaming in people's faces. And then you've got Nakamura who's just there, makes face like a retard, does weird things with his hands. What is all that supposed to be? You would not see that back in the day. You wanted eccentric Al Snow, Mick Foley. Nobody was doing all this weird ass shit, you know what I mean? Okay, but it's different time, Brad. Different characters, different form of eccentric, I get that, I'm all for change and all that and incorporating new things. Like I said, guys, when it comes to the Attitude Era, I don't want to see another Attitude Era. I know when I say that I want to see that style of writing, that style of booking once again, don't get me wrong, I don't want to see a repeat performance of everything we saw in the Attitude Era. I just want that same level of effort shown during the Attitude Era, during the Ed Ferrara, Vince Russo years. I want to even see, like I said, the Ruthless Aggression Era. I love the Ruthless Aggression Era up to a certain degree. There was a point where, some shit I didn't like. But people get all wrong. They think I'm all about the Attitude Era. No, I like a great deal of the Golden Era, the Rock and Wrestling connection, and I like a lot of what the Ruthless Aggression Era had to offer. So it's like, that was the Ruthless Aggression Era was Brock Lesnar's title run on SmackDown. And remember, I even talked about it on Raw. I said, why are we not letting the guy cut a promo and all that? But once again, people just like to put me in this little box. I'm just that Attitude Era guy. I'm stuck in 1999 and I can't get out of my Attitude Era box. But whatever. So, but I'm like, why am I here watching this promo here? Honestly, wouldn't a person in their right mind turn it off? They don't understand what the guy's trying to say. He sounds like a damn goofball. Knee to face. Knee to face. And I know people right now, they're already mashing hateful shit into their keyboard. Oh my God, I can't believe you're imitating him. Seriously. Knee to face. Knee to face. I am so sick and tired of hearing this Mama Luke Murphy, Naka Murphy. Not Nakamura. Like I said, I already have this trademark, folks. It is Naka Murphy. But seriously, if I have to hear Dream Match, if I have to hear Knee to Face one more time, or this is the house that honestly, guys, the house that AJ Styles built. Am I going to hear this again? AJ Styles is a fucking architect. He's building houses. He's building apartments. He's building condominiums. He's building mansions. He's building penthouse suites. He's building hotels. He's building skyscrapers. He's building bridges. He's building fucking, fingers up asses. I don't fucking know. This man's erecting shit all over the fucking place. This is the house that AJ Styles, but put a fucking hard hat on him and with a fucking sledgehammer and shit. Maybe that should be his character. Hell, that'd be more interesting than what's going on now. For fuck's sakes. The New Day is backstage. They have a new version of Bootios based on the Boogeyman. Random as fuck. The Boogeyman's nowhere to be found. The Bludgeon Brothers show up. They slam their mallets down, and there's your build-up for the tag titles. Okay, so they are like brawling in the ring last couple weeks, and this, we're talking more about the network. They're screaming free backstage and shit. The Bludgeon Brothers show up, and it's like, oh man, like this build, guys. I mean, don't they look at it? Don't they sit back? I mean, even when they wrote it down, but when the show's actually on, don't they actually like look at it and say, damn, this really fucking sucks? Or I mean, is it really like, did they sit back and they don't think that? I mean, it's like when Vince Russo asked Vince McMahon on, I believe it was on an episode of Livewire like over 20 years ago, how could this show be so awful? And Vince McMahon replies, I didn't think it was. You know, it's like, I think maybe that's what it is. Like, I think maybe, just maybe, you know, maybe like, it really is. Maybe Road Dogg is like a mark. He gets along with them so well on Twitter and shit. I mean, maybe he views it as like, this is a new era. Like, he always replies to people on Twitter, this is a different time. You know, you guys even saw it with me. He even got it into with me on Twitter. You know, it's a different time. You know, maybe he likes this flippy, dippy, hippie, shippy, doodah stuff. You know, maybe he thinks that a Nakamura AJ Styles match is just what the business needs. It's best for business, which is another thing that the fans imitated back when they were doing the whole authority deal. It's best for business. Now everybody says that. You know, oh, it's best for business. That's why they're doing it. You know what's also best for business? Actually having a fucking entertaining show. That's what's best for business. Not some lame-ass fucking shit like this that just appeals to the lowest common denominator of the YWC. So what the fuck else happened on this show? So, you know, the lazy-ass tag team booking. The Bludgeon Brothers are not going to be over this way. The New Day is beyond stale. We have an 8-man tag match. Ziggler and Corbin were on one side. One of the fucking Colognes was there, but the other one wasn't. And I'm just like, you know, I'm looking at this, and it's like so random. Then they said Mojo Rawley. Mojo Rawley's in there with Zack Ryder, right? So I talked about Mojo. Oh, he was last year, and he's blaming management, they're saying, for not getting enough opportunities. Don't you just hate when they expose themselves like this? And he says, oh, so now he has another opportunity. And there's Baron Corbin there. 2 years called, they want their winner back. A year ago called, they want their winner back. I mean, they're just basically showing how horrible this Battle Royal is. Just how worthless it is. That these guys won this Battle Royal in the name of the 8th wonder of the world, Andre the Giant, the guy who main evented WrestleMania 3. The guy who was an integral part of the WWE for years and years. He was a landmark personality. And so, you know, you're not only just defaming his name, by now the fucking Battle Royal is now on the pre-show once again. They made everybody think, they do this every year. Oh, is it going to be on the main show? It's on the pre-show. It's on the pre-show. And the same thing with the former Fabulous Moolah Battle Royal, now the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal, the Women's WrestleMania Battle Royal, whatever the hell it is, that's also on the pre-show. Their Cruiserweight Championships on the pre-show as well. People are also up in arms about that shit. I don't fucking care. I don't want to watch Cedric Alexander and fucking Mustafa Ali, the Lion King motherfucker. I don't care about that shit. But now we're showing that these two winners of that Battle Royal are just two guys in an 8-man tag that couldn't be any more random. They put all these guys together. You know, like, fucking just one Cologne brothers in there. You know what I'm saying? Or one Cologne cousin brother, whatever the fuck he is. I don't even know. So, you know, they're just throwing them together, and we're just like, well, hopefully he wins again. Better luck next time. I mean, it's sad. Well, anyway, Corbin got the pin here. Ty Dillinger was also in there, just in case some of you Ty Dillinger fans care. Then it was AJ Styles, oh no, then it was Cammy. Zayn and Owens stood on top of the announce table. They cut their mic off because they're not supposed to be there. Shane came out on the ramp with Daniel Bryan, and they sang the nah, 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 hey, 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 goodbye. Yeah, okay. This really wasn't a great promo at all. So I'm not really going to spend any time on it. I mean, you know, as much as I'd love to see these guys go far, far away, I don't think that they're going anywhere. Styles and Nakamura defeated Benjamin and Gable. So this is going to be the last thing that we see right here. So they win the match. Styles does a fake out forearm, stops, inches away from Nakamura's face. Then he pats him on the head. And that's it, folks. There you go. There's your WrestleMania build. Da 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 da. I mean, like, it doesn't get any worse. It doesn't get any more pathetic. It doesn't get any less eventful than this. I mean, this is the epitome right here of bad build. This is the epitome of sucking all the fucking testosterone, energy, you name it, right out of this thing. WrestleMania, the showcase of the Immortals. WrestleMania, the showcase of a bunch of fucking Mamalukes, basically. Because everybody looked like a Mamaluke on this show. They're either staring at the sign, getting patted on the head, smashing mallets down while three goofballs hold cereal boxes. What kind? We see a heavy guy on the announce table that the announce tables must have been reinforced, for fuck's sakes, to hold up Kevin Owens' massive weight. I mean, what are we doing here, guys? We're building up to a match that, Sami Zayn wasn't even featured on last year's card, and here he is, like, in a high-profile match at Mania. This is what I'm saying. I mean, Russo asked the question himself. If this is what Mania looks like this year, what the fuck is this shit gonna look like next year? Unless this Mania fails hard, because I've got a big feeling in a big arena like that, I don't think that AJ and Nakamura's going to go over that well. Unless they've got something planned, that they're planning on doing something special during this match that might actually be exciting or entertaining rather than a straightforward match. But, they're not going to want to upset the Dave Meltzers. I mean, it does seem like with Charlotte and Asuka, we're probably going to get a little something there with, like, Carmella, but they've already overused that spot so many times. It's like, when it does eventually happen, who's really going to give a fuck? I mean, are we really gonna, the thing is, I gotta say, just watching this fucking show, I'm like, they've done nothing to build on anybody's character. Like I said, most of these matches, there's no clear face and heel. I mean, look at the fatal four-way for the U.S. title. Rusev is in there, but he's more like a baby face than anything. The crowd cheers for him. You got Orton, who's a face. You got Bobby Roode, who's also a face. So Jinder Mahal's the only heel in there, basically. I mean, how did they, book themselves into this conundrum? I mean, and like I said, you've got this match here with AJ and Nakamura, or it's just, I guess they didn't want to cause any conflict there with one person being liked more than the other. They just wanted to have a straightforward, respectful wrestling match. And you can see how the build, it's just, 1 week, one guy pats somebody on the head, the next week, the other guy pats the guy on the head. And, I mean, this constitutes for build. And, it's been said, remember Andre the Giant ripping the cross off of Hulk Hogan's neck? Remember Stone Cold with the beer truck? Remember all these great moments leading up to Mania? You remember all those things? Well, you know, those days are long gone because that was a different time. And I am so sick to death of hearing this excuse in the YWC and the general IWC. It was a different time. It said on Twitter, fucking BG James, Road Dogg, Brian James, whatever the fuck your name is. You know, everyone's saying the same thing. It was a different time. It was a different era. It was a different year. It was a different decade. It was a different century. It was a different millennium. I mean, like, come on already. I am so sick and tired of hearing this lame-ass excuse for poor quality wrestling, for a poor quality show, for a poor quality Raw, poor quality Smackdown, poor quality WrestleMania, poor quality everything. I mean, there is no quality at all. There's no quality control. It's a bunch of shit just thrown up against the wall, and whatever fucking sticks and probably doesn't run down the wall so much, I mean, that's what gets to be on the show. I mean, you want to see how sloppy this show is? I mean, look at the fucking 8-man tag. I mean, like, what are those guys even doing together? You got one fucking cologne in there. I mean, you know, what a mess this company is. And it only gets worse as time goes on. I mean, it's like, who's there to pull back the reins? You know, who's there to make sure that this shit doesn't get worse than what it is, because it only continues to get worse. They have no interest in building an audience. They only are there to satisfy the YWC and, you know, make sure that they get these dream matches that they want. I mean, because back in the day, the YWC used to complain and say, oh, they don't listen to us. I hate to say it. I really do. But, you know, the Daniel Bryan thing, even as big of a Daniel Bryan fan as I am, I will say that OTRS, you know, that Schleg Daddy's right. That from that moment on, that they have lost complete control of their audience. I mean, I could even go back even further to the night after WrestleMania 29. Like I said, the Mania I went to, you know, when they went across the street to the Izod Center, when you had all those UK fans, that's when things really started to just go fucking to shit. I mean, the crowd just completely, like, was rebelling and shit like that. But, I mean, really, it was, like, around WrestleMania 30 in 2014 that they really lost full control of the audience. They're like, oh, we'll just give you what you want. Just, like, giving in to the demands, you know, of these people. Just completely retarded in every single way possible. How are you going to give in to your audience that way when you have a clear-cut plan and you're trying to, you know, I mean, like I said, I was all for Daniel Bryan getting this opportunity, and maybe that was for the best. But, I mean, really, they have just, I mean, it would have been okay to just give the fans one thing, but it's like you give them an inch and they take a mile, and now they have fucking hijacked every single show, and it still continues to this day. So, you know, they kind of have nobody to blame but themselves. I don't really blame the mark so much. Yes, they have ruined the product, but like I said, at the end of the day, WWE is the quality control. They are the people producing this shit. They don't have to put out what the smarks want, but they put it out anyway because they want to satisfy them. So at the end of the day, it is them. It is them to blame. So there you go, folks. I will have my WrestleMania predictions that I will be posting, my WrestleMania rant more. So there you go, guys. Anyway, it's been your SmackDown review. This has been your YWC champ, signing out.